I am a direct descendant through my mother's side of the Binge clan. Straight out of Portersburg and Kincaid. The feudinest, fightingest, fussingest bunch to ever come through these parts. That ornery bunch of Binges, and some would argue that it's not much different today. In the history of Clay County, some of you may have heard of the infamous Binge and Philpott feud. Depending on who you talk to, there's a number of reasons cited for why that feud occurred. My favorite story has to do with it started over a woman in a house of ill repute. But the causes for feuds throughout Clay County, eastern Kentucky, and Appalachia vary in reason, depending upon the feud and where it happened. There have been feuds over women. There have been feuds over property lines, over timber rights, and even over hogs. But there's a feud brewing right now in Clay County that pits the Clay County Board of Education against the citizens. Of all the reasons to start a stinking feud, this one may take the cake. The Clay County Board of Education and the people are squabbling over this, the Hoskins Cemetery. On my trip over to Hoskins Cemetery today, I had an opportunity to interview two local residents, Gordon Miller and Angela Hacker. Gordon Miller from Burning Springs. Gordon, you have a number of relatives here at the Hoskins Cemetery.
Yeah, my great-grandfather John Asher is buried here, and my great-grandmother Winnie Asher, and my great-aunt Jenny, and then I have another great-aunt and uncle through the Hoskins family, so I have a lot of family that's buried here, you know, and we don't want to see the graveyard move. We think, you know, when you're in your resting place, you need to rest there till Jesus comes and gets you.
Yeah. How long have your relatives been up here? Some of the older ones, some of the older graves.
Since, like, my great-grandfather's been here since 1944.
1944.
1944.
I noticed that on the Find a Grave listings, one of the older graves that I found here was a Mahala Jackson Lewis. Had been here since 1893. So this cemetery's been here many, many years.
Oh yeah, it's been here 140, 50 years, I guess. It's been here a long time. I don't think they should move it though, you know.
What's your feelings about the local officials? Is everybody sort of like any other little small county? Everybody afraid to cross the school board?
Oh yeah, I guess they're afraid of the school board because the school board kind of controls everything around here. I'm 68 years old, and it's been that way ever since I was a child. Now I'm an old man now. Still the same old, same old.
Well, we wish you the very best in trying to put a stop to this movement. Seems like a big price to pay for the community and for the county to, quote, expand the athletic facilities.
Yeah, it is a big price, maybe $500,000 or more probably, just a guessing.
I'd say it'd cost that much money to move the ground. It's a big mountain here.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gordon.
Appreciate it.
Angela Hacker from Shepherdtown.
Yeah.
That's in the northern part of Clay County,
yeah,
right?
about a mile from the Jackson County line.
What's your feeling about this entire rigmarole?
Well, it's crooked. It's a sad situation, you know. It's so historical, the cemetery, of course, and I do believe there's more historical value with the cemetery versus the athletic complex would be.
Oh yeah, I agree with that too.
Yeah.
My feeling is if you're going to teach young children a lesson today, because you know there are going to be people say, well, we're doing it for the kids, we're doing it for the kids. There's no more valuable lesson in teaching kids about ancestry.
Absolutely.
And respect for the deceased.
Right. If they don't know where they came from, how are they going to know where they're going?
That's a very good point.
Yeah.
Well, you all continue to fight the good fight, and we'll keep monitoring this situation. Anything else you want to say? Angela, have you reached out to any of the officials in town or anything you want to elaborate on there? You getting any help from anybody?
We're not getting any help at all. We've got Mr. Ron Curry, who runs the Clay County News. He's helped. As far as, you know, any of the historical societies, things like that, not touching it.
Well, I hate to hear that. You know, you got a ranking member of the Kentucky State Senate that's right up there in Frankfort that could step in and do something, but politics is a strong thing. Well, we wish you the best of luck. Now, the Hoskins Cemetery's been here a long time. The oldest grave that I can find on Find a Grave is Mahala Jackson Lewis. and she's been here resting in peace since 1893. If you look around, you will see little small orange flags all over the place. These are marked for removal, as the Clay County Board of Education wants to remove all of the graves in the Hoskins Cemetery and basically take this hill down. Island Creek Hill, as it's known. Clay County owns that property down that way. The high school's back over that way, the football stadium. They don't have a baseball field, and this may be where they want to put it, I don't know. Advertisements in the local newspapers stated that they wanted to relocate this cemetery to expand their athletic facilities. This is a Davy and Goliath story, if there ever was, in any small rural Kentucky county. Everybody knows the amount of power, influence, and money that the Board of Education wields. And sometimes the people are relatively helpless in such battles. You got a lot of people that won't even get involved, and they won't even voice an opinion or an objection because they work for the school board or they have family who work for the school board. So in a lot of ways, the people are pretty helpless in such fights. But Island Creek Hill, as it's known, drops off and all the way around. And most of the property surrounding this hill is owned by the school board. What's going to be the end result? Who knows? The people have got a dogfight on their hands, especially when local officials, local politicians, even state politicians just won't get involved. The Board of Education is probably going to pursue this through the courts and claim that it's been abandoned. I don't know. To me, my bias is going to show through, but in order for this cemetery to be abandoned, all of these souls would have to get up here and walk out. There are graves here from the 70s and the 80s and the 90s, and even as recently as 2005. It could be even newer. There are 90 here, and the cleanup that you see has been done by the Board of Education, I guess, as they prepare for some contractor to come in here and dig up each and every one of these graves and move them out of here. It's a shame. I'm going to err on the side of the cemetery and the history. I think it's invaluable to have respect for ancestry and respect for the dead. And these, in my opinion, this is consecrated, sacred ground that should not be disturbed. These people over here need to get organized. They need to have some public protests and get out in the town and set up some tables for people to sign petitions and try to see if they can get any favor in a court of law. That's ultimately where it's probably going to end up. You know, when you think about our courts and our laws, most of our laws are based upon what's known as British common law. Common law, meaning that our laws are supposed to make common sense. You just have to ask yourself, what's the common sense in moving this cemetery to expand athletic facilities? If it's common sense to dig up these 90+ graves and level this hill for an expansion of athletic facilities, you probably need to ask yourself what your definition of common sense is. And there will be those that will argue that it's for the future of our kids. No. Whenever you hear that line, it's for the kids. you probably need to put your hand on your billfold. There is no denying the power and the influence that a Board of Education has in small communities such as Clay County. But the Board of Education is made up of citizens, elected officials. In the end, the only recourse you have is the ballot box. But I just wonder, to all those board members and superintendent and all the officials that are failing to get involved here, how would you feel if this were your family? This is Manchester Memorial Gardens. Very well maintained, very well manicured. These places are a little bit too antiseptic to me. Everything looks the same. This is reportedly, according to one of my sources, could be the next final resting place for the people of Hoskins Cemetery. There's little or no individuality here. You know, a lot of people like this kind of thing, but no headstones, no individuality, nothing really unique. But if the Clay County Board of Education gets its way and prevails, this could be the chosen location for the 90+ individuals that are currently resting in peace, albeit a little unstable, at the Hoskins Cemetery. Island Creek Hill and the Hoskins Cemetery. There's a feud a-brewing. We will hope that doing the right thing will prevail. Thanks for watching.